David, when you set out to remake this team in the offseason, I know it's very early on, but what area would you say so far has performed closest to your expectation, and what element of it right now you still think needs a little ways to go?
I think when I look at the team as a whole, we set out to build, I think, a pretty well-rounded team that could win games in a variety of different ways, that didn't necessarily need to rely on one segment of the team over other segments of the team. And I think in certain ways we've seen that over the first couple of weeks. I don't know that we've hit our stride in any particular area of our team, but we've grinded out some wins. I think we've had moments when each segment of our team has performed at a pretty high level. But I wouldn't look at any spot and say, yeah, we're hitting on all cylinders there. So I think I'd look at it and say we set out to build a pretty balanced club that could win games in different ways. And I'm not sure we've played our best baseball yet, but we've won games in different ways. And so that's been good to see.
Again, knowing that it's very early on, Luis Robert Jr. is someone who's always had that really high ceiling, but especially offensively has been a very free swinger in the past. It seems like he has made some massive adjustments so far and is putting together much better at-bats. What have you seen from him, and why do you think you guys have been able so far to unlock that type of discipline?
I think he's very comfortable. And I don't know that we want to get too caught up on whether it's chase rate or walk rate or anything like that with Luis. He's such a dynamic offensive player. He can impact the game in a variety of different ways, and probably the most impactful way is with his damage, and we saw that last night. He can still do that. So I don't know if he's going to lead baseball in OBP at the end of the year, but I think we're seeing the natural evolution of a really talented player who's comfortable, who's healthy, and it's been great to see. This is not an area that we sat him down and said we need to cut down on chase rate. I think it's more of just an awareness of where he is in his career and his natural growth and comfort.
Tony?
What does the progression look like for Soto over the next couple of weeks?
I think to this point, from what I understand, he's progressing as we would expect. He's moving around indoors. I think the key is, at this point, is let's make sure he doesn't get deconditioned, and let's keep him going so that when the calf is fully good, we don't have this lengthy ramp up. I don't have a specific on this day he's going to start running, on this day he's going to hit on the field, on this we don't have that yet, but we're optimistic this is not going to be a particularly long-term absence right now.
And separately, Benge, what have you seen from him so far with the first couple of weeks of the season, and what does he need to show you to remain at this level?
I think we've seen a really good athlete. I think we've seen at times some really good at-bats, and at times maybe getting a little bit jumpy and probably trying to do too much, maybe subconsciously trying to do too much. But this is a really good athlete. It's a good baseball player. You can go through stretches at the big leagues and tie yourself in knots a little bit, and part of being in the big leagues is figuring out how to get yourself out of it. And I've been encouraged over the last couple games that he's played. I think we've seen some better at-bats. We've seen a couple really nice plays made against him, which also seems to happen when you're going through stretches like this. Balls seem to find gloves, but our feeling towards the player, our evaluation of the player hasn't changed at all based on the last few weeks.
Laura?
What's been your assessment of the defense thus far, especially with regards to players who are acclimating to newer positions?
Yeah, we've been a pretty good defensive team. I think around the diamond we've been a pretty good defensive team. And really that includes the players who are playing slightly different positions, or the players who are asking to play multiple positions. Had a couple tough plays that we didn't make last night. but we're not going to be perfect, and those were pretty tough plays. But overall, I'm pleased with how we've played defensively.
Abby?
How patient are you guys willing to be with Carson Benge at this level?
Yeah, we're going to be patient. Carson's a part of this team. We believe he's going to help us win games this year. The nice thing about Carson and what he brings to the team is that he can contribute in a variety of different ways. So it's not all on his bat. He's a good defender. He's a good base runner. And I think that allows someone to be able to work through things at the plate a little bit when they're contributing to wins in other ways.
Is there a point that you guys might hit where you say, okay, we do have to send him back to AAA to get some confidence at the plate?
Okay, we're not discussing that at all. I think our view is Carson's going to figure this out, and he's a good player, and we're happy to have him on the team.
Mark?
I know that Kimbrel pitched yesterday. Is there a timeline for him? Does he have another opt-out soon? And where do you think his progression is leading?
Yeah, Craig threw the ball well yesterday. That was very good to see. We continue to believe he can help us this year. I know he wants to help us. We've had a pretty stable pen so far. We haven't made a move, and but eventually we will. And I think he's certainly a candidate for when we have an opportunity.
Disha?
Thanks. You just mentioned, the team hasn't hit its stride fully on multiple parts. Just where do you think the roster is most vulnerable right now?
We've had some injuries to our position player grouping, clearly, with Juan at the forefront, Polo a little banged up, although I think we're heading in the right direction there. Obviously, Brett missed a day or two. Even going back to spring training, losing Talkman. So we've gotten hit a little bit with the injury bug early on the position player side, and we probably haven't scored quite as many runs as we'd like. But I think that group's going to think that's a pretty talented position player grouping. We're going to get going. We're going to score runs. I think each April I've been here has been pretty similar, where we don't score as many runs as we'd like, and then weather warms up and balls start flying out of the ballpark a little bit. So, look, that's probably the area where we look just because of some injuries. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with where we are.
Howie?
Even though your pitching staff, David, is healthy right now, is your expectation that Sean Manaea will find his way into the rotation at some point, or can he be in the process of morphing into what would classically be called a long man?
My expectation, just based on my experience of how many starters you need over the course of a Major League season, that Sean's going to make a bunch of starts for us this year. And I think he's very capable of doing that. I think we've seen some progress in the last couple of outings, and that's good to see. And I give Sean a lot of credit for very understandably being disappointed, but then going down there and helping the team. And he has helped us every time he's taken the ball down there.
You have any concerns at the same time about David Peterson?
Like Pedia, I'm sure the last two haven't gone the way he wanted, haven't gone the way we wanted, but we believe in who he is as a pitcher. He's a great competitor, and I think he'll put this past him.
Mark?
David, Tommy Pham has started playing games. How long do you think he'll need, and just how do you envision his role here?
Well, I don't know. Tommy signed a minor league deal, and we're happy to have him in the organization. We don't have a specific ramp necessarily mapped out. It's great to get him in games, and once he's ready to go, we'll sort of determine whether there's a need here or not.
Disha?
What went into the decision to bring JD Martinez in?
Yeah, JD has such a wealth of knowledge and really a unique background in the game. He's a fun guy to be around, and he's at that point in his life where he's open to considering doing different things. And I think it was probably healthy for him to take a little space from the game before getting back in a slightly different capacity. And I think this is a good next step for him. We're thrilled that we get to have him around a little bit, and he offers a really interesting perspective very few people in the industry can have.
Jerry?
Have you been surprised at all by what you've gotten from Mark Vientos on both sides of the ball?
I think Mark's done a great job. I don't know if we're surprised. We saw this. We saw this version in 24. It's been a big lift for our club, no question. And we talk about every year, regardless of what role you're penciled into on opening day, things can change very quickly. They often change with performance, and Mark has hit his way into the lineup. He's played really good defense at first base, and it's been a big help for us.